Today I'm going to be going over my biggest financial mistake I've ever made. But I'm making this video to caution others in my position or in similar positions that are looking into buying a car or about to make an impulsive purchase. At 19 years old, flush with my first paycheck, I succumbed to the intoxicating allure of freedom and independence. I had this idea of what a car would be, and I was so excited and allowed it to blur my financial sense and all of my thinking around it. I envisioned myself cruising down the highway, wind in my hair, with that new Jeep Grand Cherokee fully loaded, a symbol of newfound adulthood. Now, the first big mistake I made was going to the showroom on the day that I decided to buy a car. The salesperson was very smooth, talked me into buying a fully loaded Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I was just in heaven. I loved the car, everything about it, and it sounds crazy, but that was my dream car. Now, the car, I believe, was around $33,000, but with all taxes and fees and registration included, it was around $37,000 or $38,000. Now, luckily, I already had accumulated some sort of credit, and I was able to get around a 4.5% interest rate, which is really good.
Oh my God! Wow!
Now, the payment was going to be around $570 a month just for the car, and what I didn't know and I didn't think about when I was buying the car was insurance. That was around $300 a month. That instantly created, instead of a $600 a month payment, to around $900 a month. Then you also have to add in gas. Gas at the time was around $3.65 a gallon or something to the tune of that, and it kept going up and up and up at the time that I bought the car. It got to a point where every time I filled up the tank, it was over $100. Now, initially the excitement was amazing. It was a thrill. I had all these great features and it was a luxury car, to me at least. But as the months passed by and this continuous payment went on and maintenance issues started to show and I had to pay out of pocket a few $100s here, a few $100s there for a battery, for this, for that, it started to really become a stress financially. Especially because the first thing I did when I got a paycheck was buy a car. I didn't have any savings to dip into and had to just use a lot of money that I had to continuously pay for this car. The harsh realities of car ownership started to sink in, slowly but surely. And I started to get a little bit nervous and it was a little stressful to own this car. The Jeep, once again, was a symbol of freedom, but started to become a symbol of financial distress and started to threaten my financial freedom. Now, on top of the fixed expenses of the car, such as the car itself, the insurance premiums, etc., right, I also was trying to justify the use of the car and the purchase of the car. I would go on random joyrides to the mall, to random stores and restaurants to justify the purchase. So I was spending a lot more as well, just because I wanted to justify having the car because I wasn't using it a lot. Now, another thing to mention is my parents both work from home and both had their own cars, which were pretty much available for use to me at any point. Now, it was no easy decision, but after around a year of these payments and excessive prices of gas and insurance premiums, I decided to sell the car at a massive loss. Alright, here we are at Auto Buy, saying goodbye to my Jeep. We just sold it. That's all. The plates are off. That's about it. The car that I once bought for around $33,000 and including taxes and everything, it was only worth around $20,000. Now, remember, the car loan was around $37,000, and over the year I paid off, I think, around $7,000. So I was at, like, I believe around $30,000 or $31,000 still left on the loan. So I had to pay around $11,000 in cash out of pocket just to get rid of the car. I made the decision because I had parents, like I mentioned, with cars almost available for use at any time I needed. And on top of that, the monthly payment was just so excessive, and I figured over the next year I'd recoup the money that I would have spent in the car anyway. Now, I already wrote the script for the video and I have everything set up, but I'm thinking now about the numbers, and I'm not exactly sure, but I just want to say, if I would have had $1,000 saved instead of spending it on the car every month, instead of that $1,000 being spent on the car, so if I put that money aside into mutual funds for 35 years, this is the amount of money I'd have. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. Oh my gosh, whoa. Now, I'm glad to say that I've learned quite a lesson from this one, and as Dave Ramsey calls it, stupid tax. And I'll never do something like this ever again. Now, looking back, I myself wish that I approached this situation with more caution and practicality. Now, to help others avoid a catastrophe like I did, I want to give a few insights. Number one is evaluate your true transportation needs. If you have alternative travel or you have other transportation that you could take, trust me, don't buy a car. It's not an asset, it's a liability, and you should try to push it off as long as you could. Like in my case, my parents both had cars, but yet I justified it, and I was able to justify getting a car myself, and I only drove it around 3,000 miles over the year. I pretty much never even used it. Number two is prioritize practicality over luxury. I got swept away by features I didn't need or ever use, and different amenities that were simply overkill and no one is ever going to use. I implore you to look into cars that are more affordable but practical over luxury. If you could find a car that is much cheaper than another luxury car and offers the simple necessities of a car, like it has heat, cooling, it steers well, it drives, I would recommend you buy that car over the luxury brand, although it may seem enticing. But trust me, you will thank yourself later financially. It is a much better move because cars are not assets, they are liabilities. Number three, factor in the whole entire cost of owning a car, not just the payment of the car itself. Consider the lease itself, obviously, but also consider insurance, gas, tolls, maintenance. All these different things can add up to a much bigger number than what you actually think it will be. Number four is avoid impulse purchases. I have been accustomed throughout my life to make impulsive buys, but I see now that they've only been detrimental to my financial well-being and my emotional well-being. I would suggest speaking to someone you're close to and you trust, and a second thing I would recommend is to have a rule with yourself. Maybe wait 3 days or 4 days and research and actually understand what you're getting yourself into before just doing what I did and going to the store, looking at cars and looking at shiny cars especially, and just buying the nicest one in the lot. Remember, a car is a tool like many other things, but it is not a status symbol, or it shouldn't be. Wealth is what you don't see, so by showing others that you have a $2,000 a month car payment, you're showing that you have that much less money every single month to use for other things. The last piece of advice I have is to try to buy a car in all cash, or if you have as much cash as possible towards the car. A loan payment is not fun because you'll see when you have the payment, it'll say interest paid, and it is a very large amount of money. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I just want to say, don't let the pursuit of automotive extravagance derail you from your financial dreams and goals. Drive smart, drive safe, and drive responsibly. Until next time, I'm Yuri David. Bye!